the international webinar of civil engineering entitled Asean Young Engineer. The scope of activities of the Asean Young Engineer webinar is a sharing session on how Indonesia and Thailand prepare young engineers to face global challenges and exposure from the industry. My name is Indah Yunita, and I will be your MC for today's event. First of all, it is an honor for me to introduce everyone at our table, starting from the Dean of Universitas Internasional Batam's Civil Engineering Department, Dr. Andre Irfan Rifai, and our keynote speakers, Dr. Insinyur Mulia Pamadi, as the head of PWPII Kepulauan Riau, Professor Dr. Insinyur H. Sutarman as the Rector of Universitas Majalengka, and Dr. Sutat Lelarviwat as the Head of Civil Engineering of KMUTT, and also welcome to all the participants of ASEAN Young Engineer. We are now going to listen to the opening speech by the Dean of Universitas Internasional Batam's Civil Engineering Department. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Andre Irfan Rifai.
Thank you, Ms. Indah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, Swadikap, Wilujeng Enjing, untuk orang Majalengka. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you to each and every one of you for being here today at this Zoom wonderful place. My name is Andre Irfan. I'm a Dean in Civil Engineering and Planning Faculty, University of International Batam. It is such an honor for me to speak on behalf of the organizer. Let me begin by giving you a warm welcome to the ASEAN Young Engineer webinar. Before we get started, I would like to express my appreciation to my college who generously helped us make this webinar come true. Ms. Yusra, Mr. Jody, Mr. Aan, Pak Mulia from the Institute of Engineers Indonesia or PII, Mr. Doni and Mr. Arif from University of Majalengka, and also the rest of the UIB, UNMA, KMUTT member of faculty. We would not have done it without you. Also, I would like to thank for great speakers today, Dr. Mulia from PII, Prof. Sutarman from University of Majalengka, and also Dr. Sutat from KMUTT, Thailand. In today's seminar, we will learn about ASEAN Young Engineer. In the technology business world, engineer is like identify or personality that play a very important role to make our business be successfully. A company with strong and unique engineer will be acknowledged by more people, by more clients, and more companies. As a result, it will be more attractive compared to other construction industry with weak or no good engineer at all. I hope that this webinar will help you build your young engineer generation. But I have one question. What is engineer? This had leads to confusion within the public arena. Engineers are thought to be individuals with training in the areas of science and mathematics, which should separate them from these other individuals. Not that we should emitting away from them. As they are contributing members of society, it has not been helpful that employer assign title to individuals such as like engineer, service engineer, project engineer, safety engineer, and the other, without records whether or not that person has engineering background or associated education. I think this is little bit like false advertising, but it lets employer inflate the position by using an inflated title to make something they have more prestige. However, it continues to blur the lines between people who have a degree in engineering or relevant file experience and those who simply were granted a title. True engineers have a minimum of 4 years degree from an accredited engineering program that provides them with the underlying scientific and mathematical knowledge to apply engineering principles. In Indonesia, I think it's like university, let's say UIB or UNMA. And then, what the difference with professional engineering? Professional engineering is the only design recognized by law that allow qualified individuals to present themselves to the public as engineers. In Indonesia, like Undang-Undang Keinsinyuran tahun 2014. A registered professional engineering or PE is popular with called the PA is an individual who has fulfilled the educational typical of 4-year update accreditation, I think, yeah, and experience working under the responsible charge of PA requirement, as well as passing rigorous exam in the fundamental of engineering and one for competency in a specific branch of engineering. Currently, there are 6 major in the world. 6 major branches of engineering. Let's say mechanical engineering, chemical engineering, civil engineering, electrical engineering, management engineering, and geotechnical engineering. With literally hundreds of different subcategories of engineering under each branch. Today, we will listen to a description of the professional engineering from Dr. Mulia. He is the professional engineering from PI Indonesia with the title IPU. And he also professional engineering from Asean with the title Asean Engineering. He is the chairman of PI. Then we will listen from Prof. Sutarman, is the senior professor from West Java. He will talk about how to prepare young engineers, because we cannot have a professional engineer without we have the good young engineers. And finally, we will listen from Dr. Strat, my colleague in KMUTC Thailand. He will talk about professional engineering in Thailand. Well, I do not want to take too much of your time. I need to hand over to Miss Indah, our today MC, to introduce our great guest speaker of all you. I would like to say once more on behalf of this webinar organizer, welcome. It is great to see so many of you here. Thank you. Popcorn Cup. Hatur nuhun and keep health. Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Andri Irfan, for the opening speech. Now, without further ado, we will begin with the first topic of today's webinar, ASEAN Young Engineer. Please welcome Dr. Sutat Leota Viwat.
Good morning, Sulamat. Good morning, everyone. Professor Andri, thank you very much for inviting me today. It is my pleasure and honor to be here today to speak to everyone at UIB. And I was told that this is an occasion for orientation for new students as well. So I would like to say congratulations for new students at UIB. For those of you who are new to UIB, congratulations. Professor Yusra, the head of the Department of Civil Engineering at UIB, asked me to speak about ASEAN Young Engineers. So I thought about this topic, and I would like, with your permission, to share my screen for the presentation today. So let me try to share my screen. Sorry. Can you see my screen now? Is that okay?
Yes, okay, Dr.
Okay, thank you. So the topic of today's presentation is ASEAN Young Engineers. And I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Suthat Leelataviwat, and I'm currently the head of Civil Engineering Department at King Mongkut University of Technology, Thonburi in Thailand. And our department has been conducted seminars with UIB, and I believe this is the second time, and it is my great pleasure to be here today. So let me, oh, sorry, I think I lost. Okay, is that showing up now, the screen? Okay,
Yeah.
great. All right, okay, I think I lost it for a while. So Professor Yusra asked me to speak about ASEAN young engineers. I'm sorry. And I thought about this, and I think one of the questions is how we prepare our young engineers. And in order to answer that, I think it is important to look at the trends where the industry is going. And by the trends, I don't mean the mega, global trends like climate change, sustainable development, all these things, or even the post-COVID recovery plan. So these are the mega trends that we cannot escape from. But what I would like to talk is something closer to civil engineers, the industry trends that we are seeing in Thailand, and I believe this should be similar in other ASEAN countries as well. And I'd like to also talk about graduate attributes that we would like to have in our young engineers. So let me start by telling you a little bit about myself. I'm from Bangkok, which is, as you can see from the screen, is not too far away. And I was once a young engineer as well, but it's a long time ago. In the early 1990s, I graduated as a young engineer, and this was what Bangkok looked like in the 1990s. As you can see, the traffic jam. I believe at the time it was the worst traffic jam in period, in our city history. So that was when I started working. Okay. So at the time, Thailand was experiencing one of the largest growth period, as you can see from the late 1980s and at the beginning of 1990s. We are expanding in terms of the economy very, very quickly. So at that time, if you look at a typical engineering office at the time, this is something that you might find, a lot of drafting tables. I'm sure that many of my colleagues will recognize this picture here. But for young engineers, you would not see this kind of things. Right? So at the time, the technology was changing the construction industry. Particularly, there was an introduction of computer-aided drafting technology, which you all know as AutoCAD. And also finite element was started to be used in office. So that increased the productivity many, many times. Okay? But one of the things that really changed construction industry in Bangkok was construction technology. Bangkok was situated in a very soft soil, as you can see, and it's very tricky to construct buildings in Bangkok because the ground is very, very soft. So in order to build something, we have to put piles. Okay? And at the time, the piling technology allow us to maybe go down to about 30 meters only. Okay? So the height of the building was limited at the time. Okay? But then along came a new technology that would allow piles to go to around 60 meters. And that was the changing point. Okay, so from then on, we have lots of tall buildings. Okay, I think today we are talking about 100 meters down, okay, with the new technology. And I think we would see again new explosion of high-rise building constructions, at least in Bangkok. So this is the current picture. Okay. Why I'm telling you this? It is because I'm seeing that similar things are happening again. Okay, we are seeing advances in computer technology and advances in construction technology that will transform the industry again. So I think this is similar things, okay, but at a much larger scale. And that is why I want to talk about trends. Okay. When we talk about young people, we want to talk about opportunities. So the first thing that I would like to go into is what are the opportunities for our young engineers? And if you look at the trends, okay, I see a few trends, at least in Thailand, but I think it's true everywhere also. Okay. The first one that I want to go into is the dispersion of urban population. Okay. And I think we are seeing this trend now, especially after COVID, okay. Because of the advances in communication technology. People no longer need to be in a large city. Okay. The fact that I'm speaking to you today is amazing. Okay. This would not be possible just a couple of years ago. Okay. But today is changing. Okay. And if you look at Thailand, okay, and if you look at the population, you see there's a very, very large concentration of population, okay, in Bangkok. And that is creates a lot of problem. Okay. I think also in Indonesia is similar, but a little bit better, I think, in terms of population distribution. Okay. And I think this is true for most of ASEAN countries. Okay. If you look at these charts, except maybe in Malaysia where they have maybe a better distribution of population. Okay. But because of the communication technology, instead of having a distribution like this, okay, what we would like to have is maybe something like this. Okay, so where there's a dispersion of urban population, and I think many people are expecting this. And the good thing is that the gaps here, as you can see, okay, the gaps here will create a lot of opportunities for young civil engineers. Okay, city growth comes with new construction, with new infrastructure. Okay. And I think this is already happening. If you look at infrastructure spending in Indonesia and in Thailand, you can see that it has increased exponentially over the past few years. So that will create a lot of opportunities. And if you look at the data from Asian Development Bank, most of the money will go into road and rail construction. I think this is very true for Thailand. We have new motorways plans, okay, to construct several routes of motorways. Okay. And I think this is also true for Indonesia. I'm sure you have heard of this Sunda Strait Bridge project. As a structural engineer, I'm very interested in this project because it is one of the longest span bridges in the world. But I think from what I heard, it has been delayed maybe due to COVID, but eventually it will come. Okay, and with all the islands in Indonesia, I'm sure that we will see amazing things from the in terms of bridges construction. Okay, and also in Thailand, we have planned to develop rail networks. And I think so far, again, it has been delayed by COVID, but it will come eventually. And I think this will represent the biggest investment of Thai government. So there's a lot of opportunity in infrastructure construction. Okay, and if you look around the world, we even have this hyperloop, okay, which will come. Okay? Many governments around the world are looking into this. Maybe not in the near future, but in your career times, I'm sure that you may see something like this happening. Okay. So rail and road construction are coming. We also have advances in computing technology. And I think the industry trend now is to go into what we call building information modeling, or BIM. Okay. And just to put in a quick summary, is essentially is the a computer database of all the system, okay, including structures, mechanical system, electrical system, okay, all combined in one database. Okay. And this is used throughout the whole cycle of construction, okay, from design to documentation, to make schematics, to fabrication, to construction, and even to operation and maintenance, including renovation. So it's used throughout the whole cycle. If you are interested, you can find for those new to civil engineers, you can find more information. Just search for BIM. Okay. And I believe just like AutoCAD transformed the industry in the 1990s, BIM will transform the industry again. Okay. So far, ASEAN countries have been relatively lacking in adopting this technology, except maybe for Singapore because of government mandate. But I think just like in the 1990s, graduates with knowledge of AutoCAD will have an advantage in the job market. And this will be true also for new engineers with the knowledge in BIM technology. They will have an edge in the job market. Okay. And we are now seeing AR and VR technology, especially for job site visualization during construction, sales, and marketing phase. Okay. It's still in the very early phase, but I think in a few years it will come. Okay. There's a lot of research going on at the moment in terms of job site visualization, and you can have a VR meeting, something like this, okay, where each person can see the construction site from their perspective view, okay, and they can meet in the virtual world to discuss where the problem is, how you should go about constructing particular elements of the project. So this will come. Okay. And I think we have heard of recently there's a new term called digital twin. Okay. This is something that is also coming. It is basically a computer model of the whole project. Okay. And this is used not only for new buildings, but also for historical structures, okay, where you can have a complete information of the whole structure, okay, inside the computer. Okay, I think this technology is coming. This is what you are seeing now came out of a research project that we are doing at KMUTT to digitalize historical structures. Okay. And I think we are also seeing an exponential growth in the publication in terms of AI and machine learning. Okay, particularly, I think the first application will be in image, computer vision, okay, where you can have a robot that can inspect construction sites for failures, okay, for defects. Okay, so those will come. Okay, and also it will be linked with sensor technology. So I think we are seeing advances in a lot of the computing technology, which is very exciting, I think. And also in Thailand, at least, we are shifting to modular construction, especially because of COVID. Okay, many companies, they are forced to work off construction site. So they have to build parts of the building, okay, outside the construction site because of COVID. Okay. And I think this trend will continue. Okay. And it is possible because of BIM technology that I mentioned earlier. Okay. So that will come. And also we are seeing a lot of new materials technology, which is quite exciting in terms of at least for research, and I think for application wise as well. Okay, we are seeing what they call ultra high performance concrete, okay, which is essentially it's a very high strength concrete mixed with steel fibers. Okay, and I think this we are starting to see this in China, and I think a lot of research has been going on around the world. So we will be seeing something like this more and more. Okay, and we are seeing 3D printing structures. Okay. These are quite new, but I think in your career time, okay, you will be seeing this. Okay. And also something like high strength rebars, which will be used more and more often. And also something like self-healing, okay, concrete, especially for infrastructure applications. Now it's in the lab scale, but I think in your career time, I think you'll be seeing something like this. So overall, I think there are lots of opportunities for young engineers. And one thing that Professor Yusra asked me is what does KMUDT do? Okay. So I want to maybe discuss about graduate attributes, okay, that I think will be we would like to see in our new graduates. Okay, so in a few years ago, we were drafting our new curriculum. Okay, so we invited several people from the industry, okay, including many senior persons, okay, from construction company, from a design company, okay, from construction supervision companies, okay, and we asked them what they would like to see in the new graduates, okay, so that we can adjust our curriculum, okay, to at least try to prepare our young engineers. And I think out of that meeting, I think we can summarize. Basically, these are the things that they would like to see, okay, in new graduates. Okay. So essentially, they say that there are a few things. Okay. Now, in the job market, okay, to get a job as a civil engineer, it's not too difficult, at least in Thailand. Okay. Lots of job openings are there, but in order to advance in your company, it's very competitive. And these are the things that they would like to see. Okay. First of all, the new graduates should have what they call engineering literacy, okay, which is basically the knowledge about engineering fundamentals, physics, mathematics, mechanics, materials of behavior, those kind of things. Okay. And they would like to also see knowledge in other fields. Okay, this is very important, like computing, coding, knowledge in electrical, mechanical system, in finance. Not a whole lot of knowledge, but they should know something. And the reason is that when you know a lot of things, okay, human brain is an amazing thing. It's a wonderful, wonderful things. When you know a lot of things, okay, eventually you will be able to connect what they call connecting the dots. Okay, when you connect the dots, okay, that's what leads to innovation. Okay, I think that's what they would like to see in new graduates. So we have to prepare them. Okay, but the ability to connect the dots will come, okay, when you have a lot of bits and pieces of knowledge. Okay, and then finally it will come. Okay, and also they would like to see what they call soft skill. Okay, soft skill. And these include many aspects, okay, like teamwork, proactive presentation skill, management skill, professional skill, okay, learning and thinking, systematic thinking. Okay. But one thing that they mention that they don't want in new engineer is what they call Google engineering. Okay, not Google's engineer, okay? Google engineering, which means that you find all the answer from Google, okay, and without any systematic thinking, okay? Just search and then use. Okay? So that they don't want to see. Okay? So all these things are very important. But of course, no one can have all of this. It's impossible, right? It's impossible for everyone. It's too many skills to have. Okay, for example, systematic analytical thinking, okay, lifelong learning, knowledge management, technology oriented. It's a very high demand from the industry. Okay, so I think the most important one out of this would be lifelong learning. I think that's basically, I think the bottom line. Okay, from all of this, okay, skills, the most important one is lifelong learning, because we cannot know everything. Okay, so the only thing we can do is to keep learning. I think that's what they really emphasize. Okay, and there's a new study just came out. You can read this from Forbes. Okay, and these are the lifelong learning trends, okay, in 2021. Okay, you can see first thing they say is rapid reskilling, okay, which means that we have to keep learning at a very quick pace, okay, and learning on the job, okay, that will be very important as well. Okay, so lifelong learning, I think that would be the key word that come out, okay, of all these things that we ask, okay, the companies. So that's I think in a very short presentation, I hope I have conveyed to you all young engineers that there are great opportunities there. Okay? But just like everything else, okay, great opportunities come with great challenges. Okay? There are a lot of demands on new engineers, but if you can overcome the challenges, there will be lots of opportunities for you. So that I think I would like to maybe end my presentation with this quote. Okay, it's from Herbert Hoover. He is a 31st president of the United States, and he himself was an engineer. So this is what he mentioned. Okay. Civil engineer is a great profession. Okay. There is a fascination of watching the figment of imagination emerge through the aid of science to a plan on paper. Then it moves to realization in stone or metal, okay, or energy. Okay. Then it brings jobs and homes to men. Okay. And I think the next sentence is very important. It elevates the standard of living and adds to comforts of life. Okay. And the last one is the most important one. That is the engineer's high privilege. I think I'd like to end my presentation by congratulating all of new students at UIB again for starting a new chapter in your life to become a civil engineer. Okay. And I think with that, I would like to maybe end my presentation, and I hope you have enjoyed my presentation. It's a little bit brief, but again, thank you very much for inviting me today. And I would be glad if you have questions. So thank you very much. That concludes my presentation, and I would like to give the floor back to the host. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Sutat. Ladies and gentlemen, if anyone has any questions, please use the chat facilities and we will try our best to answer the questions one by one. Okay, we will now move on to the next topic of the webinar, how to prepare young professional engineers. Please welcome Professor Dr. Insinyur H. Sutarman.
Okay, thank you, MC. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning, Prof.
Morning, sir.
I want to present the professional engineer in Indonesia.
Morning, Prof.
Mr. Lilataviwat presentation is very clear and good presentation, but I want to try not the professional of the presentation, but I want to present possibility of the university to be provider of the professional engineer. As we know that the role of engineer is national development is very important. It is necessary to have a quality engineer professional. To support engineer professional, we have to professional education system so that development can be maintained with the supported by the competent engineer profession. Ladies and gentlemen, we know that there is a very different between Bachelor of Engineering and engineer. In Indonesia, we call Sarjana Teknik or Bachelor of Engineering. Bachelor of Engineering is engineer, the connotation of Indonesian language, Indonesian people. But engineer between engineering bachelor is very different. An engineer is definitely a Bachelor of Engineering, and Bachelor of Engineering not necessarily an engineer. So there is an additional element if a Bachelor of Engineering want to become an engineer. There are three prerequisites to be an engineer. The first one, the Bachelor of Engineering have the knowledge. So the knowledge of engineering have obtained by the university, but skill and attitude not obtained from the university, but we are obtained from the experience in the practices. How to get engineer profession? There are two ways to get the Indonesian engineer profession. The first one, engineering profession lecturer. In Indonesia, according the rule of the government, that the curriculum of the engineering profession program is a learning system that focuses on implementation or of engineering professional activities. The study period is 1 year or 2 semesters with the 24 credits, which is more than 70% in the field of the workplace, an internship supervisor, and a maximum of 30% face-to-face in class with the supervisor. So we in university have engineering faculty. There are many opportunity to provide study program of engineering professional. The second one, engineering training. This engineering training program can be achieved by engineering graduate who wish to obtain a certificate and obtain an engineering degree. This training can be carried out within 1 day, focuses on filling out a portfolio about the engineering potential experience of the training participation. Like me, I have obtained degree of IPU. I have obtained by the engineering training with a portfolio several years ago. The result of the portfolio assessment will be reference in graduation assessment. The score obtained from the result are also used to the engineering qualification to be achieved. So there are in Indonesia there are 2 ways. The first one by the engineering professional lecture in university. The second one, engineering training by the Association of Engineering Indonesia. The engineering qualification in Indonesia, there are 2 grade qualification as follow. Insinyur profesional pertama. In English, I think more and less the primary professional engineer. Insinyur profesional madya, associate professional engineer, and the last insinyur profesional utama, main professional engineer. Its score is various. Challenges and opportunity. All higher education that have engineering faculty can provide the professional engineer study program. My university, Majalengka University, have engineering faculty including 4 study program: mechanical engineering, civil engineering, informatic engineering, and industrial engineering. Can UNMA become the organizer of the professional engineering study program? This is challenges, but we have difficult opportunities. The requirement the university can provide of the professional engineer for now have to be patient. We have to be patient because the requirement that UNMA has not been fulfill because the accreditation rate, institution and study program must be A in Indonesia by National Accreditation Board. But if all engineering faculty lecturers and alumni want to be professional engineer, they can go through the namely engineering training program. So if there are many lecturers or faculty member and all of the alumni can be achieve the professional engineer through the engineering training. My university, UNMA's role, UNMA is a coordinator. It's my proposal, the propose of the PII in Indonesia. UNMA as a coordinator for all of university in Cirebon area. Mr. Lita Fatiwat, do you know Cirebon area? Cirebon is the west, the member of the West Java province. Java province in Indonesia. There are six districts in Cirebon area. There are many universities that have engineering faculty. So the participation of the professional engineer program. So all of the member of the faculty member in university in Cirebon area can to become a engineering professional if they want to be achieved. I think my presentation is enough. Thank you for your attention and goodbye. Thank you.
Terima kasih Pak Prof.
Thanks, sir.
Okay, thank you so much, Professor Sutarman, for the presentation. We will now move on to the last topic of this webinar, which is the importance of young professional engineers in the development of the country. Please welcome Dr. Insinyur Mulia Pamadi.
Thank you, Ms. Moderator. May I test my voice? My voice is clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Let me share my screen first. Okay, my screen has appeared in the screen.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning and wish you all the best. Your Excellency, Dr. Andri, the Dean of Civil Engineering and Planning Faculty of UIB. Your Excellency, Professor Dr. Insinyur Haji Sutarman, Director of University Majalengka. Your Excellency, Dr. Sutarli, the Head of Civil Engineering of KMUTT, Thailand, and all the participants webinar today. Before I starting my presentation, let me to convey our deepest of our member, our colleagues. He is the Chief of Marine, and Shipyard 2 days ago.
Inilahi wa raji'un.
Okay. Our topic today is Asean Young Engineer. Previously, Dr. Stad had written about the industry side of engineering and education for the engineering. I try to present or share something about the engineering law in Indonesia. That is also very important for our students. So today I will introduce what is the PII and the historical from the PII, and what the PII done now for the engineering, for the young, the transformation they have for these few years, and one point, the certificate of engineering registration. Our legal basic of engineering first is Undang-Undang Nomor 11 2014. Sorry, I use the Indonesian language, especially for Dr. Stad, yeah, because I want to talk about the law, yeah. So better I use the Indonesian language here. Our student, maybe a lot of the student or participant today is the Indonesian student, so they can clearly know about the law in Indonesia. Okay, law number 11, 2014. Yeah, this is about the engineering, signed by our president, our former president, Dr. Haji Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono, and established on 20, signed on 20 March 2014 and established on 24 March 2014. This is consists of 15 chapter and 56 clauses. PP number 25, 2019. This is one of the implementation regulation for the engineering. Established on, they consist of 9 chapter and 38 clauses. Okay, now I share a little about the PII history. PII is funded by our former engineer, Engineer Juanda and Engineer Professional at UIB. But this is not Universitas International Batam. This UIB Universitas Indonesia Bandung, and then changed their name in 1999 to be ITB. ITB is Institute Teknologi Bandung, one of the famous, the best technology education in Indonesia. Okay, PII is launching in 1952. If I'm not wrong, Thailand more earlier, 9 years earlier. The Engineer Institute of Thailand is in 1943, and then Malaysia is later from Indonesia. Malaysia is 1959. They call Institute Engineer Institute. The ITS, Institute Teknologi Surabaya, located at Surabaya. After that, 1964, they established Fakultas Teknik Universitas Indonesia. This is a technical faculty in Indonesia. Is one of the famous university in Indonesia too, but not in technology, for all the discipline knowledge or scientists. In 1984, PII founded as the ITE. ITE is Institute of Technology, Indonesia Institute of Technology, yeah, through Yayasan Pendidikan Teknologi Indonesia. This is one of the company, the non NGO company from PII. And then 1995, in line with time, our former chairman of PII, they do something for our improvement, and they have the relation with the International Equalization Professional Engineer, recognition through the cooperation with Institute Engineer of Australia. Yeah. So this is the first time. If I not forget, the chairman is Abu Rizal Bakri. Yeah. And then in 2000, we know we have the ASEAN Economic Community. And then the professional engineer also, we have the increasing, yeah, to have the standardization for the ASEAN and APEC. In 2014, our engineering law number 11 2040 is published. And then we know 5 years later we have the PP 25 2019. After that we have the acceleration for the improvement of our engineering, yeah, especially for the professional engineering. Yeah, we have be the member of the EIB, and we have have a lot of the professional engineer in Indonesia, 6,000 more. This is 5 years ago, 3 years ago. Yeah, now maybe the figure is more than 30,000. One of the important cause in our law 11 2040 is 1.13. Let's say Persatuan Insinyur Indonesia. Yeah, this is the Indonesia Institute of Engineering of Indonesia. And then we shorten to PII. Maybe next I will say PII. This is one of the forum, yeah, for the engineer, yeah, to carry out the engineering implementation or engineering work in Indonesia. So PII have the authority from the government by law, yeah, to handle all the engineering work or engineering education in Indonesia. This is the one of the important thing also, yeah, but this is the definition of engineering. Yeah. I translate in English. Engineering is a technical activity. So every activity that related to the technical, this is a part of the engineering that using scientists and expertise. Scientist is based on the mastery of science, and expertise is based on the technology. So the student have the education for the bachelor degree, you have the scientist from the mastery of science. And then after you pass your bachelor, you work in the industry field, yeah, you have the expertise from the technology. Both of them to increase the added value and usability in sustainable manner. This is what our goal to do the engineering by paying attention to safety, health benefit, as well as community welfare and environmental sustainability. This is the ethic that we have done as an engineer. So now we can see which scientific is be a part of the engineering. We see our Earth, from our Earth and inside our Earth, the energy. And second to six, number 2 to number 6 is about something we done in our Earth, on our surface of our Earth. We do the structure, civil structure, industry, conservation, agriculture, the marine and everything. Yeah, this is also the part of the engineering. And number 7 is the aerospace, airspace. Yeah, this is the aeronautic and the astronautic, also the part of the engineering. This is by the law of Indonesia. What is the engineering part or the scientific? Secondly, we see the scope of engineering. If we are a teacher, we are a lecturer, yeah, we do something about the education, pendidikan, yeah, we are also done the engineering practice. We have the research, we do the consultant, we do the technical exploration, excavation, and development. All of them of the engineering work, that means we are on the scope of engineering. And so all of this we are done one thing that we say the engineering practice. Why engineering practice is important? Because we need to have the STRE, one of the certificate registration for engineering. So who is our regulation, our law clause 1.3, engineer is someone who has a profession title in field of engineering. Previous Prof. Sutarman has said one of the education, why the different of someone student pass from the bachelor degree, and someone who engineer as a profession. This is the engineer of the profession. And clause number 7.1, to obtain mention to obtain a title of profession engineer, one must graduate from the engineering profession program. So in Indonesia, we have after we pass the bachelor degree, we should have the engineer profession title by study from university. We call PSPPI, Program Studi Pendidikan Profesi Insinyur, or the study program for engineer profession education. Now, after we have the established the law 11/2014 and the PP 25 2019, we have the acceleration for move or boost our engineering skill. So this is what the PAI done for all the young engineer in Indonesia. We call the era baru keinsinyuran Indonesia. This is a new era of Indonesia engineering. Indonesia have 70,504 islands, 1,340 language, and 743 ethnics. So engineer in Indonesia facing more heavier challenges compared to engineer in the other country. This way, to answer these challenges, all the stakeholder, all the implementer of the engineering in Indonesia should be integrated. One of the engineering value chains from the downstream to the upstream to get the goal what we expected. This value chain of engineering is starting from the accreditation technical study program in the university or college, and then we also support for the engineering profession education, and then the PAE also give the professional engineer certificate and accreditation for the Association of Engineering, and the last is the registration of the certificate engineering, and also international standardization. They were done by PII. This is the first field change. Accreditation technical study program. The first field change, engineering field change, is in the technical study program in university. technical study program should be standardized with the quality. So we need the accreditation for the technical study program in all university in Indonesia. PII have one of the institution we call LAM Teknik. This is the Lembaga Akreditasi Mandiri Teknik yang ada di PII, in PII, ya, Independent Accreditation Institute of PII. We carry out the accreditation for the technical study program to guarantee the standardized of quality for the technical program study in all Indonesia. Maybe Dr. Shah also can share about how Thailand, the Engineer Institute of Thailand, do something for the government and for the society about the engineering. Yeah, this is Indonesian law. Yeah, how they set the program, and then PII is one of the association. Yeah, they have the authority to implement or to running this regulation. LAM Teknik is for the national accreditation, and for international, we have the Indonesian Accreditation Boards of Engineering Education, what you say IABI, PII. This is the accreditation for the technical programs, study program. We are the member of Washington, yeah, that carry out or uplift our program study to the global level. Yeah, we have accredited 42 technical study program in various university in Indonesia with the standard of international, and we are also the other country, the many states, yeah, that join in the Washington Accord has recognized with our EIB PII. The second value change that we have said is the supporting for the education for the profession. What Dr. Sutarman has highlighted before. The engineer profession education is post education. Yeah, after we pass the bachelor, yeah, they carry out by the university, yeah, with full profession curriculum design. This is joint from between BII and the Department of Education. Supporting from the Society of Engineering of the profession, yeah, to the university is absolutely need for set the curriculum, the theoretical or the intensive, yeah, to prepare the mentoring for the student and the place for the student for practice engineering. This is the second solution what PIA done to support the engineering in Indonesia. The third step is PIA also have the assessment for the engineer, yeah, to know their competency. So PIA also we have three categories. One is IPP. IPP is Engineer Professional Pratama. This is the primary professional engineer. And then with the score below than 3,000, we have the assessment. So if we pass the graduate and then we work in engineering, yeah, we have the experience. We can claim our experience as a portfolio, and then we'll have a score, and this score will be assessed by the BK, is one of the board, yeah, to assess our experience, yeah. So if our score is under than 3,000, that means we are only IPP. If our score 3,000 to 6,000, this means we are in the range of IPM. IPM itu adalah Engineer Professional Madya. This is the intermediate professional engineer. And the last one is IPU, Engineer Professional Utama. This is the principal or master of profession engineer. Yeah. The score is up than 6,000. So PII will publish or give the certificate, yeah, for the engineer according to their category. And this is the last one of the field chain is to register the engineer, because one of the important thing is the clause 10.1. I read in Bahasa Indonesia, so all the students can remember very clear. Setiap insinyur yang akan melakukan praktek keinsinyuran di Indonesia harus memiliki surat tanda registrasi insinyur. Every engineer who carry out the engineering practice in Indonesia should have the engineer registration certificate. This is the important thing for all the students, yeah, that we have a law, and this is have a penalty, yeah, if we don't fulfill. After that, this is the application of the what we call symphony, yeah, to make easy for the engineer to submit everything, yeah, their portfolio and to apply the competency of engineering. This is the big picture what I have present before. Yeah, the first is in the education of bachelor education in university. PII play a role in the education is by Lam Technique for the national and ERB ERBPA for the international. Second is the after the bachelor degree, we have the PSPII. Yeah, this is a program, a study program for the engineer profession education. If we pass this, Dr. Sutama, Prof. Staman have mentioned for 1 year, and we have two routes to get this one. Yeah, some engineer have done their engineering work, or they have graduate before 2014. Yeah, because our law is not what we say, tidak berlaku surut. Yeah. So for the engineer had been passed or graduate before 2014, yeah, they have the easy way, yeah, the compensation to get the engineer. Sorry, I'm wrong. Engineer must be get by study, yeah, by study, yeah. The third one, The third one is the certificate competency engineer. This is the engineer competency certified. This is we have two routes to go to the certificate. Yeah, one is by our portfolio. Yeah, then we can get it. The second, we must pass by our engineer in the second value chain, and then we apply for our after we have our competency title or degree, yeah, IPP, IPM, or IPU. After that, we register to have the certificate. Why this certificate is important? Because our law 11/2014 clause 10.1 that's mentioned every engineer who carry out the engineering work or the engineering implementation, yeah, they should have the engineering registration certificate. For some engineer, they have the degree for the competency IPM or IPU. Minimum is IPM. They can go to international for the standardization for international. Yeah, something like Asean Engineering Register, AER or HAPE, yeah, Asean Chapter Professional Engineer, or APEC ER or Asia Pacific Economic Community Engineer Register. This is the big picture of the engineering and the step have been done by our organization or association PIA. This is the Surat Tanda Registrasi Engineer or Engineer Registration Certificate. This is the part of legally certified engineer. So every engineer, include the ASEAN engineer, if they have the job in Indonesia, yeah, they practice in Indonesia, yeah, they should be registered, yeah, in Indonesia at PIA. This is the penalty, yeah. We see the clause 19, 21, and 50. One of the highest penalty is go to jail for 10 years, yeah, or we must pay 1 billion rupiah if we make something wrong with our construction. Okay, thank you. I think enough for me to share some regulation of the engineering in Indonesia, and I hope this is a benefit for all the young students, and we can highlight this one in Q&A. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mulia.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mulia, for the insightful explanation of the topic. We will now move on to the Q&A session. Once again, if anyone has any questions, please use the chat facilities or use the raise hand feature, and we will go through the questions one by one. Please also include who the question is directed to. Thank you. If anyone has any questions, you can raise your hand and ask the question directly.
First question, I think, from me, missing. Excuse me, Miss Indah.
Okay, so the very first question is, what is the impact of technology on engineering, and will robots replace the main role of engineers in the future? Dear speakers, please answer the question. Yehezkiel Emmanuel, who is the question directed to? To be more specific.
I want to have from hiring side and using side.
I think Dr. Sutat can explain about the replacement human with robot. It's like BIM, I think so.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Interesting question. I think so far our industry has been relatively slow in adopting new technology if you compare to other industry. In terms of robot, I think not in the near future. I think construction industry is still human intensive industry, I think. But we are seeing a lot more automation, for example, in terms of producing structural elements, producing architectural elements. These have gone to automation, I think. But in terms of really like a robot working, I think it's still further away, I think. But maybe in your career time, we will see more automation in the job site. But so far, it's still limited. Mostly, the automation is done off the site for prefabricated construction. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the answer, sir. Does anyone else have any questions?
Yeah, I to try to add the answer from Mr. Sutat.
Okay, please, sir.
Yes, human have the three important. There are head, heart, and hand. Head, heart, and hand. But robot only have a hand only. So robot cannot replace from the human. Robot is only a tool. In spite of robot have artificial intelligence, but artificial intelligence is human-made, so cannot replace by the robot. The role of human cannot replace by the robot. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Does anyone else have any other questions?
Miss Indah?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think I have a little question for Dr. Suter from Thailand. Okay, thank you, Dr. Suter. What you heard about the professional engineer in Indonesia, my senior, Dr. Muli, has been present about the step by step to get the professional engineer from bachelor degree in engineering. After this, we have the one's program, of course, still in university, like the we call in Indonesia the PSPI. It's like the program similar with 1 years to get engineer degree. After that, we must get a professional engineer from the associate, like the Institute of Engineering. How about in Thailand? Have a same program like after bachelor degree to get the professional engineer must get one step like the professional engineering program in university. Can you explain about that, Dr.
Yes, thank you, Professor Andre. I think we have a similar system, but in Thailand, after graduation, then we have to apply for license, and the license is actually controlled by what we call engineering councils, which is a separate institution from the Engineering Institute of Thailand. So Engineering Institute of Thailand, they mostly deal with professional activities, but in terms of licensing, curriculum overseeing, the roles are given to the engineering councils. So after 4 years of engineering, Bachelor of Engineering degrees, then we have to apply for license. And then we have 3 steps, like in Indonesia as well, as I pick up from Dr. Sutama presentation, that you have 3 levels of engineering. So we have a similar system. And in Thailand, in order to qualify, you can do 4 years in university, or you can do 2 years, I think what they call certificate degrees, and then transfer to 2 years in university. That depends on university now, okay, whether they accept that or not. For example, at KUTT, we don't allow that. Only 4 years bachelor degree is offered. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Sutat. I will discuss with my teacher from Universitas Majalengka, Prof. Starman. Punten Bapak. It's like the PSPI program. It's the strictly correct about the we must have accreditation with level E from the BAN, yeah, to build some program professional engineer. But I must give about the new information is with Mas Menteri, the requirement is compromise, Prof. Like the University of Tadulako, they have only B accreditation from BAN, but the University Tadulako University get permission from the higher education department to get the PSPI program. I think like the UNMA, what you say is UNMA is one of the coordinator in Cirebon area. I think is can to starting the PSPI program. It's the good news for the UNMA. Thank you, Prof.
Well, I think it's very good news for our because on the paper by the regulation from the government, only prerequisite to provide PSPI must we have E rating in National Accreditation Board. But if possible, I think it's very good opportunity to provide a study program. But in the short time, I think it's better if we are to become a coordinator for to collect all of the alumni and the faculty member of our university in Cirebon area in a short time. I think Tadulako is state university, so there are many privileges. But the private university, there are many prerequisites must be fulfilled. So we are now of this regulation from us. I think that Mr. Andre, I think this is good news. I want must be add the extra effort to be fulfill it. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Starman. Is today we present with the Dr. Mulia is have big information from PAE because the PSPE is like the brother or the son from the PAE, I think, but it's the home in the higher education department. Yes, I think it's PAE is what the name is good father from the PSPE. I think that's right. Can you your comment from Dr. Mulia? Thank you, Dr. Mulia.
Okay, Dr. Andri, PII have done the transformation for the engineering. Yeah, what we hope all the young engineer will go to the standards for the international. So some of the method we have done include Dr. Prof. Sutaman, yeah. Dr. Andi just highlighted PII have discussed with the Ministry of the Education, yeah, how they make it simple because the last time for have the education for the PSPE, yeah, we need the institution accreditation is A, and then we have 5 study program, and the 5 study program is the technical, and 3 of them also should be A. So this is very difficult for the university in Indonesia. Yeah, PE also know this is one of our problem. Yeah, so we discussed with the Minister of Education. Yeah, we need a lot of engineer. Yeah, that certified by the professional. Yeah, so we make it easy. I also want to discuss to Dr. Sutadia. Excuse me, Dr. Andri, maybe something I want to talk also to Dr. Sutadia. We are in Indonesia. We have 2 titles. I say the value chain number 2. Yeah, this is the education. Yeah, in the university after we pass the bachelor degree. Yeah, this is the title of education. We call IR, engineer. I don't know in Thailand what title give to them. Also same IR or not. IR or engineer is an academic title. So if we will be engaged in our life, all our life, it means something like bachelor. Yeah, we can use our bachelor until as long as our life. Engineer also same. Yeah, also we can put in our name. Yeah, in the front of our name. Yeah, for our all life. But the difference is the competency degree. What PII give in the value chain number 3 is the profession degree. Yeah, that means if the time going, yeah, we don't practice the engineering, yeah, maybe we lose our knowledge, our skill, and everything. Maybe our attitude also. So we are not professional again. So we are not competent. Yeah. In Indonesia, we this title IPP, IPM, and IPU just for 5 years. After 5 years, we must do the continued improvement. Yeah, I don't know Thailand also the same or not.
Yes.
The second
Yeah.
second item I want to discuss with the student is what I know in Malaysia, the student has passed their education bachelor degree, they will register for the GA, graduate GE, graduate engineer. Yeah, on the one of the board. Yeah, this board maybe same with the Thailand, the kind of the engineering council. This is not the private, but this is the government. Yeah, they only register because 4 years later they can apply for the professional engineer. In Indonesia, we are PIA. Yeah, not recommend every student should be registered after they pass. Yeah, but if they want to give the engineering the profession title, yeah, they should submit their experience of work, yeah, their portfolio, yeah, they claim their experience and this have a score, yeah. I see this is a different Indonesia and Malaysia. And one thing is important is maybe Thailand and Malaysia the same, yeah. You have the engineering council and the engineering institute. Engineering institute maybe is the private, is right? Yeah. We are Indonesia PIA do something like Malaysia BM. BM is board of engineering of Malaysia. They have the authority, yeah, authority to certify the professional engineer, yeah. But they also have a council for, they say, Institute of Engineering of Malaysia, but cannot certify, cannot publish the certificate, yeah, because they are private. I think this is same with Thailand is engineer institute. Engineer institute is private. Yeah, this is for all the engineer. They register, yeah, and to be the member, yeah, for the engineering work. Okay, maybe you can say something to us. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. First question, I think about the title. In Thailand, professional titles are normally not used. Only academic titles maybe, but not professional titles. So we don't normally use that in Thailand. The way it works here is after you get the first license, then you have to work for a few years. And also you have to collect what we call continuing educations points, which mean that you have to go to seminar, you have to learn, you have to take course, and each course you will get these points. So those will be used to assess whether you can pass to the next level of license or not. So that the way it works, I think you have to work for 5 years before you go to the second license level, and then another 5 years to go to the third level. Okay. In terms of organization, it's correct as you mentioned. We have two bodies. The EIT deals with professional activities only, whereas the license is overseen by Council of Engineers. So I think it's more like Malaysia, I think. So that's the two questions I picked up. not sure if I answer your questions. Thank
Okay,
you for your question.
Thank you, Dr. Sitat. Sorry, moderator, I direct to Dr. Sitat. Yeah. So, what I say in Indonesia, we have the professional engineer, yeah, by PII, we call IPP, yeah, IPP, IPM, IPU. What Thailand give the name of the title? Yeah. Second, we are in the academic. We have the title IR. This Thailand also same IR.
No. We as I mentioned, we normally do not have professional titles like engineers. Only doctors may have, but other professions, they don't normally use the title for professions. Okay, that's maybe different from Indonesia. Okay, so maybe only doctors and professors, they use academic titles, but other professions like engineers, no. But in terms of how the license are called in English, I'm not so sure how they call it, but maybe I think the engineer, that's the first level, and then we go to something like a senior. I'm not sure in English how the official titles, okay, for in English, but I think the second level is called senior engineer or something, and then the last one is called like PE, professional engineers. So there's 3 levels. But I apologize that I don't know the English official English titles for engineers.
Thank you, Dr. Sitat. Miss Indah, please continue. I think it's have the other question. Yeah?
Okay, we have another question from Gabriel directed to Dr. Sutat. Do you think advanced technology and engineering, such as modular construction, will reduce the opportunity for young engineers? I believe modular construction needs less time and less worker than regular construction. Thank you.
That's thank you for your question. That's exactly what happened. If you compare to my time when I started working in an office, we have lots of engineers. Okay, lots of engineers designing a few buildings. But if you go there nowadays, you feel very few engineers. Okay, maybe 1, 2, 3, they can design the whole building. And that is, of course, because of advances in technology. In the future, because of modular construction, of course, I think we will need less engineers. That's the way it is. It will be more competitive. But I think just like in other industries, it's always the same. Okay, it will be more and more competitive, but the opportunities are there. Okay. So as I mentioned in the talk, to get a job as engineer is still relatively okay, relatively simple, but to advance in the careers, it's becoming more and more difficult. And in the future, I think the trends will be like that also. Okay. But of course, on the job side, we still need engineers, but maybe less so in the future. Okay. That's my view. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for the answer. Now, since there are no more questions, we will move on to the next event. First of all, thank you so much to all the speakers for the answers and explanation. We from UIB have prepared a virtual certificate as our way to convey our appreciation to our speakers. So thank you so much for the active participation in this webinar.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, UIB, for
Thank you.
certificate. Thank you, Mr. Sutat. See you.
Thank you, Dr. Sudhamar. Thank you, Dr. Mulir. Thank you, Professor Andre. Thank you, Ms. Inda, for overseeing this event. Thank you. See you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Mr. Sutat, please waiting. We have the one agendas about the MOR signing, yeah, Ms. Indah. Please just
Okay.
minute, Mr. Sutat.
Now we will move on to the next series of events, which is the MOA signing. For this session, we will witness the signing ceremony of academic cooperation between Universitas Internasional Batam and Universitas Majalengka, which will be signed by Dr. Andri Irfan, STMT, as the Dean of Civil Engineering of Universitas Internasional Batam, and Dr. H. Riza M. Yunus, STMT, as the Dean of Civil Engineering of Universitas Majalengka. You can begin the signing now, and once it is done, please show it to the camera.
Good. Congratulations, Mr. Andri.
Yeah, thank you, Prof. Thank you. Where from the Dr. Riza? Can you share in here?
Oh, sorry. Actually, I'm in home, and maybe Mr. Doni.
It's no problem, Mr. Riza. Thank you. I think it's one step is a good one step milestone of Prof. Starman to
Yes.
Moving to the other partnership. I have
Yes,
one idea. We can build some research team from KMUTT, PIE, University of Majalengka, and also from UIB.
I agree with you.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
Okay, because I
Thank
heard
you, Mr. Andri.
from a lot of lecturer in University of Majalengka about the relationship from the other engineering file, like the system information, like mechanical engineering, to research to get research with the civil engineering and KMGT, like BIM, like VR, like the artificial intelligence. Yes, I think Dr. Sutat have a lot of knowledge to share with them, with us, with University of Majalengka and University of International Batam. Thank you, Prof. Starman. Thank you, Prof.
You're welcome, Mr. Andri. Can you explain me about how many study program do you have in engineering faculty?
We have the one civil engineering and planning faculty, only architect and civil engineering, and with the other engineering faculty, other engineering faculty like the electrical engineering, and today moving to computer engineering, and
Okay.
only that. Thank you, Prof.
Yeah, okay. I hope this collaboration to obtain the more beneficial for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Indah.
Okay.
Monitor for you.
Dr. Mulia, thank you. Dr.
Thank
Mulia
you.
have
Thank
been
you.
left. Okay.
Thank you. Thank
Because
you.
of that, see you in Thailand. Maybe.
See you in Thailand after COVID. Thank you.
If the COVID-19 disappear.
Sure, sure. We will see each other.
Okay.
I've been hoping to go to UIB as well. So see you, Professor Andre. Thank you.
Okay, now to everyone, before we end the session, I would like to remind everyone to fill in the attendance on the link provided earlier. And now, before everything is over, we would like everyone to please turn on your cameras for our picture taking session.
Yes, bye-bye.
Everyone, please turn on the camera.
Okay.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Okay,
Keep
one more
smiling.
time. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Thank you so much to everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, this marks the end of the ASEAN Young Engineer webinar and the signing ceremony. Thank you so much to the academic deans, the department heads, faculty members, students, and also to all the guests for making this webinar a success through all the participation. I sincerely hope that the information that has been shared during this webinar will be useful in practical applications in the future. Once again, thank you so much and good day to everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Dr. Andre.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prof.
สวัสดีครับ สวัสดีครับ Bye-bye.
สวัสดีครับ
นะครับ
สวัสดีครับ
Apa Andri tadi
Ya tempat asli nama.
Ya, Bu Yusra, tadi ikut nggak yang webinar? Bu Yusra ikut nggak webinar tadi? Halo?
Pak Mulia,
Ya, ya.
Indra Stuti Pak. Aduh, saya nggak hidupin kamera.
Skrip pop-up.
Pak Mulia.
Ya, ya Bu. Halo Pak, selamat pagi Pak. Pagi, saya punya itu belum mati ya? Ya. Tadi Bu Yusra ikut ya di itu acara? Halo?
Ini sampai jam berapa ya acara ya?